I am always looking to reduce our carbon footprint. That is my training, that is my background, that's my passion, that's where I believe we need to go. So that's where I'm at. I think Bragg is there as well. I do think that, like I said, these new B Corp standards are going to force us to formalize a lot of the things that we've been doing kind of intuitively. We've been around for a long time. We have a very relatively sustainable product. Apple fermentation is pretty low impact. And vinegar fermentation, pretty low impact. So there's a lot of things that Bragg does intuitively, and B Corp we felt was an extension of that. And so I think this next round will would force us to formalize that. And part of formalization of some of this is working with Planet Forward. I'm so glad you brought them up. I would give a toe to be able to shout them out whenever I can, because they are a wonderful group. We've been working with them for over a year now. Actually over 2 years now, I think. Yeah, we've been working with them for a long time, and they're fantastic. They'll run life cycle analysis and corporate GHG inventories, and they'll work with you to set targets and understand your impact. Up until this date, we have just done product life cycle analyses in order for me on the supply chain to pinpoint changes we can make. One of those was a transition into partial post-consumer recycled material for our 10-ounce plastic bottle. So we did that as a result of some of this Planet Forward work, and that was really exciting. And actually, I'm really stoked because recently we kicked off a corporate corporate GHG inventory to look at our impact across the entire organization rather than just cherry picking items. So I'm very excited for this work with them. And to your point, like they play a huge role in this. Tracking plays a huge role in how we think about a sustainable supply chain and how we aim to move forward with our sustainable supply chain.
Right on. I mean, that's the other thing that's always like I'm thinking about when I'm as a consumer buying something. It's
Mm.
God, it's like, what is the carbon footprint of this product and of me too? There's so many things now that, especially because of social media, we get served, basically like you should buy this and makes your life easier. And sometimes you play into it. You're like, okay, order it. And then it shows up at your house and it has so much styrofoam and packing and things like that. You're
Yeah.
like, I did not need this one piece of fruit wrapped
Box,
in
put a
like
box, put in
15
a box,
pounds of,
put a
yeah,
box. Yeah.
yeah. In fact, there's one company whose name I won't even mention because I don't want to give them any more publicity, but they make decorative fruit bouquets. And I
Uh-huh.
swear to God, if anyone ever sends that to me, I'm like, never do that again. And by the way, now you must go donate to this company because you've literally ruined the world trying to send me this stupid fruit bouquet. But with that said, because that's my pain point, I know you have a lot of your own pain points. So if there's one thing that you could change about how supply chains typically operate in the food industry, what would that be?
Oh, yes, I saw this question on the prep questions, and it's the only one that I have multiple question marks around. There's a lot. There's a lot of things that I think about, like more rail. That'd be great. I'm a huge, big rail fan. Let's do more rail. We already talked about that. Let's go. Amtrak. Here we go. Better waste streams. That's always a one on my mind as well. Better packaging, better sourcing. There's all these things. I think the biggest thing to kind of encompass all of that is more accountability for impacts and more accountability for impacts across your supply chain. And when you're a brand like ours who has tons of partners, tons of people helping your business, it's tough. It's tough to really encompass all of those impacts. And it's also tough to think of them as your own because you're like, I don't have control over that. Or I guess it's easy to fall into that trap where you're like, I don't have control over that. It's not my business. Um, but ultimately your business grows and benefits off of that. So I think something that, again, the B Corp standards that just came out and other companies are really starting to do is focus on those what we call scope 3 emissions and those supply chain emissions that you aren't necessarily immediately responsible for and accountable for, and counting them as your own, working with your partners and saying, yes, I recognize that this is not my business, but it's your business and your business is my business. So like, let's work together. And again, that goes back to good relationships. Let's work together to improve X factor, your waste stream, your water usage, whatever, your energy usage, and whatever it is. So I think accountability within the supply chain is going to be the next step, is people just saying, you know what, this is part of what I need to fix. And I'm, instead of like, that's not my problem. So that's where I would like to see kind of companies step up and make a bigger impact.
It's true because it truly is all of our problems. Like, because for as much we're like, no, somebody else will figure that out. It's like,
Yep.
no, maybe we should be the ones to figure that out. But,
Right.
sometimes too, I guess there's not everything you can control and you don't really know what's coming down the line, especially let's talk about consumer demand and how that really affects what you have to do personally.
Yeah.
Because again, we'll see like an uptick suddenly in social media where everybody's talking about apple cider vinegar. Do you see a direct correlation when these trends start popping up again that suddenly you're seeing like a bigger demand in maybe certain parts of the US or certain like even cities or even globally where you're like, wow, we can tell they're having a real, moment over there, let's say, with apple cider vinegar because suddenly like everybody in Philadelphia is ordering apple cider vinegar.